We are less than 2 weeks away from opening tip, but why wait to celebrate?
We've got Cherry and White Night with Temple Pep Band, Diamond Gems, and the cheer team.
Yeah, you guys want to say hi?
Hey.
Hey. He's right here. Okay.
We're getting up close and personal, miking up Temple Lacrosse during its Philly 5 tournament.
Plus, it's one of those do-or-die games coming up for Temple Field Hockey. A win Friday on the road at UConn, and they're in.
OwlSports Update is live, and it starts right now. Welcome to a brand new edition of OwlSports Update. I'm Ajay Patel, she's Brielle Berry, and we've got a spooky show coming up.
There's soccer, lacrosse, basketball, field hockey, and of course football. The Owls are getting ready for a road trip looking to snap a 3-game slide and win that first conference game.
Friday saw a continuous losing streak. A loss at home to Tulsa made it 3 straight defeats for the Owls. And this came after scoring the game's first 10 points.
And that brings us to the here and now. Temple faces Navy Saturday afternoon for a 3:30 matchup. Both teams are coming into this game 2-5 overall, but the big question is, can Temple score some points? The Owls are averaging just over 14 points per game.
And the defense needs to guard again the big plays. And so says Everett Withers, who was behind the mic this week in place of an ailing head coach in Stan Drayton.
Well, like I said, I think it was 210 plus yards on 7 explosive plays. And every one of those 7 plays was a missed assignment. So when you play a team like Navy, you have to be assignment sound. It's not the scheme, okay? And you know, people want to talk about schemes. It's not the scheme. It's execution of that scheme, and we just got to do a better job of executing the scheme. You know, it's what we're having right now is a breakdown by a different guy within a play. And it's keeping us from continuing drives and moving forward and getting the ball in the end zone. We're close.
The last time these schools saw each other was last November 27th when the Midshipmen defeated the Owls 38-14 at the Link. Things were a lot different with Temple as Mariano Valenti was the Owls QB and he threw for just 73 yards in that game. Temple has not beaten Navy since October of 2018 when the Owls won 24-17.
Now we welcome in Inside the Nest anchor Luke Meli to talk about what he sees in the Owls' upcoming matchup. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
What are the biggest differences between last year and this year's team, Luke?
I think there are 3 significant ones. First, I'll start with the man in charge, Stan Drayton, in his first season as a head coach here at Temple. Obviously, last year, the Owls had Rod Carey, and that was a team that quit on their head coach. They lost the last 7 games by 20-plus points. That team stopped giving effort towards the end, and effort has been a big key this season. The Owls have not quit on Stan Drayton. They're buying into the culture. All the guys support him, and he has talked up all his guys as well. The wins haven't come quite yet, but the culture he's implementing, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Now, let's move over to the quarterback. We saw DeJuan Mathis in that spot last season. Now it's true freshman E.J. Warner in that spot this season. And now for Warner, the stats don't jump out at you. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's been a little off and on, but he's had a lot of inconsistencies around him. A different offensive line combination in every game he's played, and lots of injuries to receivers around him as well, with Ian Stewart and Adonicus Sanders missing time. And lastly, the biggest change is the defense, going from a weakness last season to the biggest strength of the Owls this season.
Now Temple is on a 3-game losing streak. Luke, how will they exceed expectations this week?
Well, AJ, it really goes to where those expectations are set. I don't have the Owls winning this week. I have Navy winning 23-13, so I don't think the team as a whole will exceed anything. But if you're looking for a bright spot, look at the defense. And I think after you watched the Tulsa game last week, where the Golden Hurricane ran for nearly 300 yards against Temple, and you look ahead to Navy, a top 5 rushing team in the country, top in the conference, the easy connection to make is that Navy's going to run all over Temple, but I don't think that'll be the case. This is a Temple team that has proven they can adjust. Just look a couple of weeks ago. UCF passed for over 400 yards against Temple. The next week, this Temple defense shut down the Tulsa passing offense. They showed they can adjust and adapt. Now when you look at this Navy team, their strength is running the ball. I expect them to shut down this Navy run game. And again, this is a Temple defense that was a weakness last season, giving up nearly 40 points per game. This season, it's just under 25, and that's including the 70 bomb they gave up to UCF. This is a defense that is going to exceed expectations this week, even when the rest of the team might not meet them.
Thanks for joining us, Luke. Looking forward to seeing your coverage this upcoming Tuesday on Inside the Nest at noon.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Taking a look at the matchup and throwing in our crystal ball, I'm predicting a Navy win 27-14. While the Owls defense has looked solid, I just have a tough time seeing how this unit will stop the run. Add that to a struggling offense and you get that Navy win.
Temple will extend its losing streak to 4 games, falling in this game 24-10. Navy does a really good job of controlling the time of possession, and Temple is notorious for short drives on offense. I believe Temple's defense is going to get exhausted yet again. We're heading to a break. The men's and women's basketball teams hosted the Cherry and White game on Tuesday night.
When we come back, we will take a look at the hoops version of musical chairs. Stick with us. We'll see you in 90 seconds. Welcome back. It's a party at the Lacrosse Center, no ticket needed. OwlSports Update's Meg Doyle was at the Cherry and White game, and she is live at the studio set to tell us more. Hey, Meg.
Thanks, Brielle. The Cherry and White Night is an annual event where the men's and women's basketball teams host their own kickoff party, and all are invited. The night was filled with performances by the band, dance team, and the cheerleaders. There were raffles, musical chairs, basketball edition, and of course, our 2022 basketball teams. It's the biggest basketball party around, and the fun is free for all. Cherry and White Night is the first chance for fans to get a taste of the upcoming season. For the women, there's a new leader. Coach Diane Richardson makes her debut in November.
We're probably the fastest team in the league. It's exciting getting up and down. We score pretty quickly, and then if you put the ball on the floor, we're going to steal it from you and score again.
And this year, every home game, men and women, will be right here in the Lacrosse Center. Say goodbye to McGonigal Hall. Although you won't find me on the court this season, you will find a new women's head coach and new transfers for the men team, as the excitement generated at this Cherry and White Night is only the start of what's to come.
I feel like the transition for the new guys has been real easy. All our returners, we said we wanted to make their transition a lot easier just by, welcome them with open arms. We're just really ready for all you guys to see, what they bring to the table for us.
The goal this year is increasing the number of wins and the number of tickets sold. It all starts in a matter of days. The men's team will kick off its season at home on November 7th, while the women's team will be storming the court the same day at Princeton. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Meg Doyle. Brielle and Ajay, back to you.
Thanks, Meg. Certainly an exciting time for not only the basketball team, but the fan base as well, especially because the men's team looks a little different this season. OwlSports Update's Hayden Bandel brings us back to the Lacrosse Center, minus the party.
Thanks, guys. The Owls are ramping up for the 2022-23 season, looking to make improvements to their offense. Last year, they ranked 10th in the conference in points per game and field goal percentage. They averaged 66.8 points per game and shot 39.5% from the field. Temple is looking to their new transfers to upgrade their offensive game plan.
It's just putting the basketball in the hole. You know what I mean? That's the most important part about efficiency to me is getting layups, is getting to the free throw line and just trying to create as many easy baskets as possible.
I feel like they're gonna balance it out well. I feel like they're gonna have me on the ball a lot, but off the ball when maybe Fabe's in the game or another guard's in the game.
We just gotta get easy shots, get the shooters shots that they need because we got amazing shooters like Zach, Khalif. So getting them shots will make it easier for me to get shots, and I'll just let my shots come in the full game. They just need a presence down low, someone who can be an offensive presence, someone who can be a defensive presence. So they thought I matched pretty well with them. That's why they recruited me.
The Owls will be tipping off against Wagner right here at the Liacouras Center on November 7th. Reporting from the Liacouras Center, I'm Hayden Bandel, OwlSports Update.
While men's basketball is preparing for its season opener, some players are dabbling in other ventures behind the scenes. It's a new DUFF Fund which is helping turn these student athletes into businessmen. With athletes now being able to profit off their own names, images, and likenesses, 16 Temple student athletes have signed NIL agreements with the DUFF Fund, a Temple alumni-based NIL collective that launched just this past August.
And I feel like Temple's going to be a lot more successful with NIL marketing.
The fund is an organization helping Temple student athletes sign NIL deals and connect with the Philadelphia community. Donors right now are focusing on men's basketball. Dunn is one of 10 players already taking advantage.
Being able to have a bigger platform just to, kind of give back to the community, and just pay a lot of the respects that I've earned for myself just to kind of pay those type of things forward to the community.
Playing well in their sport isn't the only criteria for a student athlete to earn an NIL sponsor, as brands or companies are looking for personalities to match their on-field performance.
We wanted to see who was, fairly active and engaged in social media.
The fund aims to sign at least one student athlete from each of Temple's 19 varsity teams. Sawyer Koza is the only men's soccer player to sign a deal since the launch.
This is a really good step for me, but I'm always looking to build my brand. As a soccer player, I didn't really think it really applied to me that much, but having the DUFF Fund was really a great opportunity.
The DUFF Fund now has agreements with at least one athlete across 7 different teams. It may not be all 19 teams, but it's a start. There are budgetary restraints with this fund, but as it continues to grow, the fund organizers will look to sign more student athletes from more teams.
When we come back, men's soccer is looking for its first 3-game win streak of the year, but it wasn't as easy against the nationally ranked Conference foe. We're tickling the twine versus conference rival Tulsa. Don't go anywhere. OwlSports Update returns in 90 seconds. Welcome back. The men's soccer team is looking for its 3rd straight win as they hosted Tulsa. Here's Haim Rosary on the left wing, and he sends it to George Medill, who heads it in to tie things up at 1. Jan Quamey shakes up Tulsa's goalkeeper, finding the back of the net to knot things at 2. But right here, Temple was called for a penalty inside the box, resulting in a Tulsa penalty kick. Alex Meinhardt nails it, giving his team the lead and the game. Final score is 3-2 Tulsa. ECU visiting the Temple Sports Complex as the women's soccer team looks to break a 4-game losing streak. About halfway through the first half, Carson Parker nails a goal from deep, sneaking it right past goalkeeper Kyla Burns. Then, Temple catches ECU goalie Maeve English sleeping. Eliza Davis packs the pass, and Emily Kavanaugh drops the hammer and scores a wide-open goal. Then, Carson Parker puts her 2nd goal by Burns, who racked up 8 saves in the match. 2-1 is your final at Howarth Field as Temple drops 5 straight. Back to men's soccer, a former player has joined the coaching staff here at Temple. OwlSports Update's Rickey Turner is at the Temple Sports Complex to tell us more. Hey, Rickey.
Thanks, Brielle. Lucas Fernandez is playing soccer semi-professionally in his hometown of Rochester, New York. He's always had the dream of being on the other side of the line and coaching a team of his own. But his opportunity came at his alma mater in a place where he was a two-time all-conference player.
One thing is clear about Lucas Fernandez.
I
I love soccer.
Fernandez played his last game for Temple in 2019. He was then off to the pros after being drafted by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Lucas Fernandez.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I learned a lot about myself and about soccer, about living on my own.
Fernandez moved from Pittsburgh to his hometown team in Rochester, the Flower City Union, for one season. But one phone call from his former Temple coach, Brian Rowland, changed his career path.
Having a coach that has played here, that's lived, on campus, that really knows this whole experience.
Lucas has now traded in his jersey and his cleats for a clipboard and a spot on the Temple sideline. But the adjustment certainly hasn't been easy.
Season and whatnot, and watching the games on the sideline has always been a difficult thing for me, even when I was a player. So now transitioning into this new role has been a little tough, but I love it.
Lucas is now tasked with helping develop a team with 12 freshmen and even some older players that he played with his senior year.
He's taught me a lot about exactly when to make a near post versus a far post run, or something like a double movement.
Fernandez will try to bring back some of the magic he left behind when he graduated in 2019, when Temple made it to the AAC semifinals. It starts with scoring. Fernandez led the team in goals during his junior and senior years. Reporting from the Temple Sports Complex, I'm Rickey Turner. The addition to the coaching staff has not produced the results that Temple wanted, with the Owls missing the postseason for the second straight season. There is growth, though, with Temple increasing its goal total from 14 to 16 and doubling its win total from 2 to 4 with 2 games left to play. Reporting live from Howarth Field, I'm Rickey Turner. Guys, back to you in the studio.
On Saturday, the lacrosse team hosted its 15th annual Philly 5 tournament. These are all off-season scrimmages. Villanova getting things going early on here, but Temple was quick to answer thanks to freshman attacker Lindsey Culp getting the goal for the Owls. The Wildcats responded with another goal, but Owls' Amelia Wright answers right back, taking her defender 1v1, and she even does a little spin move as she gets on the board. In all, Temple played 4 mini games, no final scores, just some off-season work for the local D1 teams.
There is so much going on at sporting events that fans never see or hear before, during and after the game. So we thought we could give you a sneak peek into what it's like in the sidelines during a game. Here is lacrosse assistant Liz Trojan mic'd up on Saturday with Temple facing off in that first game against Drexel.
Yeah, you guys want to say hi?
Hey.
Hey. He's right here. Love it. Attacking pairs. Great shot, Kens. So just as that low girls, I don't know if you guys saw Riley starting to creep a little bit over. So just maybe try and keep her a little more occupied other side. Good stick. Julie, break. Taylor. Kenzie, get through. Good take, Sabrina.
That's your too loud. I can't do it.
It's an owl.
Nice, Aaron.
That's it. That was a good full speed cut. Yep. And go get Amelia now. No, it wasn't circle 3.
It was just
2 and then 3 behind, yeah. Whatever that means. I think they're in 2-3-2. They're in the 2-2-3. 2-2-3. What's on my head? What?
Sorry.
What, do you not like something? Oh, you're trying to be taller? Oh. Yeah, I'm mic'd up. I didn't call you stupid. You gotta cut that out. You can't use
called me
that.
dumb.
I didn't. Yeah. You wanna say hi?
Hi.
I don't know where he is.
That's creepy.
Oh, he's over there. Is that game? Good game.
I'm so sorry.
Good game. Hi, sorry.
Temple Field Hockey welcomed 14th ranked Old Dominion right out of the gate. This game was physical. Tess Muller, weaving through defenders, got swarmed by numerous white jerseys in midfield. Temple later granted a penalty corner, but was unable to convert, shooting this opportunity wide right. Marlon Bruagin, given a penalty stroke, flips this one right over Molly Fry. The Owls getting another crack at a penalty stroke and again wide right. Temple went 0 for 12 on shooting attempts. Old Dominion wins this Big East matchup 2-0.
With the loss, this makes Friday a make-or-break day for the Owls. Temple currently sits in 4th place in the Big East. A win at UConn secures that last playoff spot, but if Temple loses and Villanova wins later that same afternoon against Georgetown, the Owls are out of the postseason. Look for updates on our social platforms at OwlSports Update.
We're ready to take our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll show you what goes on behind the scenes of an ESPN Plus broadcast for Temple Athletics inside the Lacrosse Center. Stay with us.
Welcome back. 9 sports here at Temple make it to the big leagues by airing on ESPN Plus. OwlSports Update's Morgan Killian-Moseley takes us behind the scenes to look at what goes into producing these broadcasts.
In the basement of the Lacrosse Center, Temple's ESPN Plus crew has its eyes and ears on Temple sports.
Back to the goal because he can turn on a flash and just...
And it's all live for viewers in any corner of the world.
It's 2 control rooms in one, so we have instances where there's 2 games going on simultaneously. We might have a volleyball match in McGonigal and a soccer game down at the Temple Sports Complex, and we'll produce both of those simultaneously.
With a mix of on-site camera work, remote commentary, and the control room's all-seeing view, Kevin Kopp's crew will produce about 100 broadcasts on ESPN Plus this school year. Since starting in 2018, ESPN Plus has allowed viewers access to on-demand streaming of their favorite sporting events.
I've had a weird background where I have done a lot of in-house stuff, I've done a lot of studio stuff, I've done a lot of live production stuff, and you kind of just get used to it, not being able to see exactly what's going on with your own eyes.
Temple has 19 varsity sports, and the live production crew will broadcast one event or game from 9 of those teams.
65 seconds.
While there may be a bump here or a bruise there, the show does indeed go on, starting in August and running through April. I'm Morgan Killian-Moseley, OwlSports Update.
That's how the fans see the games on ESPN Plus, but on this show, it's about how A, AJ, and B, Brielle see it.
While we normally talk football for this segment, we are switching things up and we'll be talking some women's basketball.
That's right. The team looks a lot different this year. New head coach and the best player in Temple basketball history is now playing overseas. So the question remains, who's going to fill her shoes, Brielle?
Okay, I'm going to talk about Aaliyah Nelson, the 5'6" senior guard from Baltimore that followed head coach Diane Richardson from Towson to Temple, and she has a ton of accolades. She set the single-season assist record, broke the single-season three-point record, and she averaged just over 16 points per game. AJ, who do you think is taking over?
I think Anaya Gordine and Jaisha Clinton will. They had time to learn under Mia Davis, and it showed. They had 20-plus minutes a game last year, and then both AAC all-freshman team honors. They're going to have more touches this year with no Davis, and that's who's gonna take it over. Coming up this Tuesday at noon, our football coverage is back with Inside the Nest as usual. OwlSports Update is live at 12 on Thursdays with our Sports Brief streaming on Mondays on social media.
That is all the time we have for this edition of OwlSports Update, and for the entire OwlSports Update crew, have a wonderful rest of your day.